Hey, it's Misty from the Book Rat, and it's time for my August rewind. So this is a look back at what I read in August with a quick thumbs up, thumbs down rating. This one's going to be really quick because I hardly did any reading in August, mostly because I was busy with Austen in August. I read Girl of Nightmares by Kendar Blake. I don't have this one with me at the moment, but it looks like this. This one, not surprisingly, gets a huge thumbs up. This is the sequel to Anna Dressed in Blood, which you may remember I adored, and I loved this one just as much. I wasn't sure what to expect from this one, and where you could really go with the story, so I didn't really have an idea of what I would be in for, and I think that actually really worked. And even if I did have an idea of where I thought the story was going to go, I never could have guessed where it actually did go. You know, they definitely went into some new territory and really sort of expanded the world building. As always, I love Anna and Cass a lot. I'm really kind of bummed that this is the end, that there are no more Anna books. But at the same time, I think it's good to end while they're strong, to end on a good, strong note and two solid books and not weaken it by dragging it out, you know, further than it needs to go. This one doesn't go consistently for the scary parts the way Anna did. There are fewer of them, but I think the ones that are there have a bigger impact. Anna Dressed in Blood, I thought, was a book that would scare other people, didn't necessarily scare me, and that's to be expected. Books generally don't scare me. But there was something in Girl of Nightmares, there was a scene in Girl of Nightmares that legitimately creeped me the F out. Really wormed into my brain. It was one of my, things that was just like, ugh. Definitely still does get its points for ick and scare factor, but just beyond that, it's just great storytelling, and if you haven't picked these books up, you should. Jane Austen Ruined My Life by Beth Patillo, which you guys picked for me. I've already done a video review of that, you can find it here. But I'll go ahead and say thumbs up if you want to know why. Check out the review. Crewel by Jennifer Albin. This one, surprisingly, gets more of a thumbs down. It's not completely down. There were things that I did like about it, but I had really, really high hopes for this one. There were things that I thought were really well done, and it's certainly unique, and it did deliver on that score, but for the most part, it sort of struggled for me to feel authentic. I didn't necessarily buy the characters, especially Adelise, the main character. Who they are and the way they act relative to the world they're in didn't ring true to me. And I think that was a big part of what kept me from connecting with it, which is a shame because I think that if they did reflect their society a little bit better, I would have loved this. I was also disappointed too that I had to go the typical YA romance route. I think this would have been better with just tinges of romantic interest or chemistry or sexual tension combined with the more scary aspects of sexuality and choice that are addressed towards the end of this book. That would have been plenty and would have really been capitalized on. Instead, having romance be a huge part of the book, I think it really detracts from the plot of the story. It sort of weakens the dystopia aspect, and it weakens the unique world building, and doesn't give Adelise a chance to kind of step into her own, and I was disappointed by that. Not disappointed enough that I don't think I will read the second book, if there is one. I think there is. It ends in a way that makes me curious, but even though I know there are people that disagree with me and really, really loved this, I was disappointed, which makes me bummed because it was one of my more anticipated books this year. A Bride Story by Kaori Mori. This gets a thumbs up. It doesn't have the same fire, I think, that her Emma series does. There's something really special about her Emma series, and I think it's her connection with the characters and the way she is able to make you love them. I loved Emma right off the bat. This one was a little bit more slow going for me. It might even be a product of the setting. There's a lot more sort of world building and understanding of the world to get through, and almost info dumping, which I don't know that I've ever really encountered in a graphic novel. But mostly I just love the way she presents slices of life. I think she's really, really good at that, and I will definitely be reading more of the series. And I read part of Shatter Me by Tahereh Mafi. This was my book club pick for this month, but I didn't end up going to book club because I was out of town, so I didn't end up finishing this because I knew I wasn't going to be able to go anyway, and I had a ton of other stuff to do, so I just kind of put it on the back burner. I am that far through. I don't know if you can see where the cover is. I will certainly finish reading it, but I don't know that I'll finish it right now. I think I might set it down and come back to it later. I like what I've read so far, and I really like the stream of consciousness aspect of it, but I see it starting to go the way of the YA romance thing once again, and I'm afraid that that's going to disappoint me and detract from what could be a really killer story. Hopefully that's not the case. I will find out, but just not right away. Hey, forgot to tell you that I also read Fitzwilliam Darcy, The Last Man in the World by Abigail Reynolds. You may remember this from a couple of months ago when I read it the first time. In my review, I mentioned that writing about it made me really want to read it again, so I did. When a book makes you pull 2 all-nighters in 2 separate readings in 2 consecutive months, that's a pretty good book. And that was it. That was all the reading I did in August. Very small month for me. Let me know what you think of the books that I read. If you read them, what you thought, if you want to read them, whatever. If you do your own August wrap-up or rewind, make sure you link it up on the linky@thebookrat.com and stop by my September TBR and see what I'm going to be reading in September. Thanks for watching and happy reading!